Welcome to another video by SERUpractice.com. Today's video is for the PHV drivers looking to take TfL SERU Assessment. You definitely would have some information about the assessment, but TfL has made a number of significant changes in their updated assessment exam. But as always, SERUpractice.com got you covered. In today's video, we will cover all the latest updates, exam format, real example questions, and useful cheat sheets to help you prepare well before the attempt. So stay tuned till the end to solve a complete SERU mock test and boost your chances of success. So first of all, let's discuss the exam format. SERU stands for Safety, Equality, and Regularity Understanding. And this assessment ensures drivers understand their responsibilities. The test is 3 minutes long, and TfL has made a new change which allows test takers to have the handbook with themselves during the exam. Yes, you have heard it correctly, that now during the TfL SERU exam, you will be provided the handbook, and during the exam period, you can consult with the handbook to confirm your answers or to find anything from the book. Another important change to make the test easier for the test takers is that each question will have its relevant section number and heading on top of it. We will see this in just a minute when we will be solving a real-life mock exam according to the latest TfL update. You will have 36 or 37 total questions. Among these questions, there will be 12 fill-in-the-blanks drop-down style questions. These are the most important questions because each one of them carry 2 marks. Subsequently, we have 22 multiple choice questions and 2 reading and understanding questions. You need 60% marks to pass TfL SERU assessment. Another important thing is that now some questions can be paraphrased as well. That means what they are asking in question will be reworded. It will not exactly be the same as given in the handbook. Therefore, when you are choosing the correct answer, make sure that you are putting the right answers in each drop-down fill in the blank. Now let's talk about the syllabus of TfL SERU exam. This assessment involves 2 major modules. The most important one is TfL Driver Handbook. So every test taker should have complete knowledge of the TfL Driver Handbook and also the knowledge of correct use of English grammar. There are some English grammar rules like the use of an versus a, capital letters, subject-verb agreement, singular versus plural nouns, and similar words. These are some of the English grammar rules which are assessed in this exam. Since June 2025, the SERU assessment is now an open book test, which means that TfL will provide you a copy of the PHV driver's handbook in your test so that you can find and match correct answers. But in my opinion, to solve 36 or 37 questions in under 1 hour can be difficult if we find and match every answer. Therefore, it is optimal to read the handbook prior to taking test and also practice English grammar to choose correct answers more confidently. At SERUpractice.com, we provide one-on-one training tailored for each student's need. We also offer this comprehensive and hands-on course for SERU assessment that includes section-based handbook reading material and mock exams to help you practice all areas of assessment. There are thousands of students who have taken this course, who have taken one-on-one training classes and passed the exams. You can see some of their certificates on your screen right now. Now let's begin our mock test. So as you can see, and as mentioned earlier, that you will have 60 minutes to answer either 36 or 37 questions. Now let's take a look at exam interface. When answering questions, you will see a drop-down menu with 6 options like this. These 6 options are grouped into 3 correct pairs, meaning there are 3 correct answers per question. Also, as previously mentioned in the introduction, that TfL has made a significant change in how they conduct SERU assessment. So now, whenever you will see a question in SERU assessment, the relevant section number and section name will also be given on top of the question, so that if the testing, they can consult with the PHV driver's handbook to match and confirm their answers. So for example, this question that you must carry blank in a London PHV blank PHV license discs on display unless dash. So this question is from section 3, carrying out private hire journeys. Now let's choose the correct answer. So you must carry out bookings, right? So here choosing in booking or out booking, these are the two relevant options for this blank, but of course only one of them is correct. And you must carry out bookings in London licensed PHV that have or that has. So this is exactly where grammatical rules come in handy. We should choose that has PHV license discs on display unless exempt or exempt. Now this is also again relevant to a grammar rule, which is capital letters. So both of these words are exactly the same, exempt and exempt. And we know that this is also the correct answer, but choosing this one will be wrong because exempt is not a proper noun. So first alphabet of this word cannot be capitalized. Therefore, the correct answer is exempt. Moving on to the next question. You blank any sign or say anything blank of the public that suggests that you are available dash without a booking. So first of all, I also want to reiterate on a fact. This is also a change that TfL has made in SERU assessment, that now MCQs does not come in the beginning of the exam. In fact, they start with fill in the blanks, drop down questions, and then subsequently MCQs will come. Now let's choose the correct answer for this one. You may not or you must not. So basically here we want to put, the TfL want to put an emphasis. So whenever there is a condition, there is a rule, then we must use the word must. Because you may not give means that maybe you can, maybe you cannot. It gives different kind of a vibe. But saying you must not give any sign or say anything to an member or to a member. Of course, this is again a grammatical rule. That's why I say that knowledge of handbook is one thing, and every PHV driver should learn from the PHV driver's handbook what are the rules or laws for a PHV driver. But that alone is not enough. So we should also have a sense of grammatical rules. So for example, the rule of an versus a. When do we use an and when do we use a? Member, the word member itself is beginning with the alphabet M, which is a consonant, not a vowel. Therefore, saying to an member would be incorrect. The correct option here is to a member of the public that suggests that you are available for hire or for hire. So basically among these three pairs, only these two are remaining. And we know that hire means jumping from a lower place to a higher place. But here, of course, we are talking about hiring somebody, hiring the services of a PHV driver, taking them on a fare to go somewhere on your choice of destination, the choice of the passenger's destination. So therefore, the correct option here is for hire. Next question is begin the blank. So the word here are focus on the road. The relevant option is you need to or you need to. So many of us already know, again, it is an English grammar based rule that this too, and this rule is derived from similar words. By the end of the exam, I will also show you some cheat sheets which will help you better understand what I really mean by these grammar rules. But here you know that this too means also. We are not referring to multiple things here. We are only referring to one thing here. So you need to focus on the road, and so you can see it by yourself as well that this sentence now makes perfect sense. Choosing something like this and you would be in doubt. Two things give away the correct answer here. If you choose this, first of all, we know that to here is irrelevant. It should not be here. There should be simple TO2. And also you can see that in the beginning of the sentence, we need to capitalize the first alphabet, and U here is small letters. That's why the correct option is you need to focus on the road and be able to react quickly. Don't get distracted or distracts. So distracts is the first form, and we are here talking about a situation. Therefore, don't get distracted by mobile phones and other electronics, devices or device. Now, which grammatical rule is this one? This is singular versus plural nouns. So we know that device is a noun. Device can be of any kind. It can be a gadget, it can be a tablet, it can be a smartphone, any kind of electronic device, right? And here, of course, we are talking about multiple things, mobile phones and other electronic devices, right? So we are going to choose the option which is a plural noun, music or others. Next one again is the same. So first thing first, whenever you see a fill in the blank in the beginning of the sentence, you need to make sure that the option you're going to choose should have capital letter. Then you need to choose which option is it. So for example, beware and be aware. So be aware obviously is incorrect because of two reasons. First of all, these are two separate words. Second of all is that be is in small letters. So therefore we are going to choose be aware, and it also makes sense in the sentence that be aware of what is going on around you, right? So the full sentence becomes be aware of what is going on around you and of anything that seems different or unusual or does not feel right or right. Again, an example of similar words. So although they are both pronounced pretty much same, right and right, but of course our choice of word would be R-I-G-H-T, right. Or anyone that is acting suspicious or suspiciously. Of course, the correct option here is suspiciously, because we are talking about a property of somebody who is acting suspiciously. Here again, the first alphabet should be capital in this blank. If you work, if you working. If you working is grammatically wrong, right? It should be if you are working. And second thing is that it is not relevant here. And the third thing is that you can see the first alphabet of the word if, which is I, it is not capital. So we cannot use it here in the beginning of the sentence. Therefore, the correct option. So my point of saying this is that you can improvise in real time. You can choose the correct answer by looking at the signs and the options which are given to you with the help of the grammatical rules which you have learned before taking the TfL SERU assessment. So if you work for a PHV operator who offers ride sharing service or ride sharing services, so ask yourself, does an operator offers ride sharing services to just one particular customer? No, it is their business model. That means they provide those ride sharing services to a number of passengers, all the passengers. Therefore, the service itself becomes plural. You should talk to them about ride-sharing training for PHV drivers, as the operators may provide this or should provide this. So it is relevant to that previous question where we had an option you may not, right? And may not or may kind of gives you an idea that maybe it is compulsory, maybe it is not compulsory, something like that. But the sentence is trying to tell us something, and we should choose our correct in this fill in the blank from drop down, exactly the correct one. Therefore, services. A plural noun would come here because, now read the sentence together. You should talk to them about ride-sharing training for PHV drivers, as the operator, should provide this. So we were discussing how may provides or should provide, which one is the correct option and which one we should choose. So it is the responsibility of the operator to provide training for ride-sharing to all the PHV drivers. Therefore, they must do this. So the correct option here is should provide this. Apologies for choosing services here. Although dash personally responsible for collecting or recording. So we are talking about some kind of an entity here in this fill in the blanks. Let's look at the option. You are not responsible. So you is not and you are not. I will show you in the cheat sheet that you is always used with are. It is never used with is. Therefore, you are not personally responsible for collecting or recording bookings detail or booking details. So no matter how good your preparation is, and I wish all the very best of luck to all the people who are taking this test, but please make sure that when you are filling those blanks, you're choosing the correct option and reading all the options very carefully. So you can see here it's bookings detail or booking details, and definitely the word correct option here is booking details. You should know about this requirement and let your operator or lets your operator. Obviously, let your operator know about any changes. We use the word let's when we are initiating a sentence. For example, if I want to tell somebody, let's go to the park. So I am asking them or suggesting them to let's go to the park. In that scenario, we use let's. But when we are talking about other people, then we should not use let's. So here we are talking about the operator and the driver. So the sentence becomes you, the driver, the PHV driver, should know about this requirement and let your operator know about those changes. Dash sexual behavior. So the first fill in the blank. No type of, right? Or all type of. All type of is significantly wrong because first of all, it is not the suitable option, and second of all, its first alphabet, A, of the word all is small letters. We need to choose the one which has capital letter because it is coming in beginning of the English sentence. No type of sexual behavior between you and the passenger is ever acceptable or accepted? Which one is the correct option? So again here as well, acceptable, because this accepted is grammatically wrong here. Even if you choose it and then read the sentence, no type of sexual behavior between you and a passenger is ever accepted. That is past tense. We are talking about a condition that is being set by TfL, right? That the driver and the passenger can never have any kind of sexual experience or a sexual behavior between them. Therefore, the correct option here is acceptable. It is not acceptable, even if both of you agree to it or agree for it. So when we are talking about consensus between two people, then we do not choose the word agree for, we choose agree to it. It is important to look at the options. Remember, this one is member, does not make sense. This one is the correct option. It is important to remember that a PHV is not a or black cab. If you ever feel confused that how exactly am I going to find the correct answer, so if, for example, you feel confused if the correct option is mini cab or cab, what exactly it is, or maybe you do not know what to fill in this blank, maybe cab should come here, or a mini cab should come here, or a car should come here, which word is the exact answer? In that case, all you need to do is to refer to the handbook, go to section 3, carrying out private hire journeys. So for instance, here we are in 3, carrying out private hire journeys, and in its first section of bookings, we can see here that remember a PHV is not a taxi, black cab, right? So with the help of this one sentence, you can confirm that you are choosing the correct option. Another important thing here is that you can see how this question is beautifully rephrased, changed in wording, and allowed you to choose the correct option based on your knowledge of handbook. So it is important to remember that PHV is not a taxi, black cab. Right? This sentence might have been written in a different form or words in the handbook, but still the correct options will remain the same as handbook. You will need to prove or prove. So the word proof is used when we use a word before it, a determiner like provide a proof. But when you want to say it straight away that you will need to prove that you have at least a B1 level of ability in English language or English language. This one is very easy. And again, this is one of the grammatical rules, which lies under the category of capital letters. Because the word English is the name of a language, which makes it a proper noun. And in English language, we have a rule that whenever, no matter in the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, or by the end of the sentence, but whenever we have to write the word which is a proper noun, we make its first alphabet capital. Therefore, English language, not this one, but this one. E1 is a level of English in the Common European Dash of References for Languages, CEFR. The cheat sheets, which I will show you at the end, has a list of all those words which are either acronyms or all the words which should be capitalized as per SERU handbook. So here we will use the word framework. Now both of these words are very same, they have same spelling, but F is capital here. And of course, because CEFR is an acronym which stands for Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. On the go, I also want to tell you something here, that regardless of being inside an acronym, but the words like of, for, and, these are not capitalized. These are still written with small letters. Your operator is responsible for recording it or recording the day. Your operator is responsible for recording the day or date. So you know that days are repetitive. Every week has 7 days. And when we are recording the details of the booking, of course, it should be recorded with the particular date, right? Which includes the day, the month, and the year, so that the reader can extract the exact information. Therefore, recording the date is wrong, and recording the day is wrong, and recording the date is correct option. Still, if you feel confused about it, definitely you can refer to the handbook. Again, it is a question from section 3, carrying out private hire journeys. The booking is make or made, because this whole sentence is talking about past events, right? We have already the date of a particular booking. Therefore, when that booking was made, right? So the booking is made, not make, because make is used with present tense. And if different, the date of those journey or of the journey. So for example, let's say if it was journeys, plural, then probably according to the sentence, we should or would choose of those journeys. But right now the correct option is of the journey, because we are talking about one particular journey and the details of it. Your operator dash recording the agreed time and place. So first of all, we need to look which pair is most suitable for this blank. So your operator are responsible for or is responsible for, because recording the time and place for picking a passenger, it is a responsibility of the operator. So therefore, of a singular entity, right? It is a singular noun. Therefore, we will use is responsible for. Let's say, for example, if it was your operators with an S, then probably are responsible for, and then depending upon what the sentence is. But right here we can see that it is a singular noun, therefore we will use is responsible for recording the agreed time and place for picking up passengers. Or if more than one location. Do you think one location is grammatically correct? Of course not. One location, the agreed time and place for picking up the first passenger. Now this is entirely based on your knowledge of the handbook, so that you might not end up choosing the wrong option, second passenger. The correct option is first passenger. You must not stop, wait, pick. So why did I immediately went on and choose the correct option, stop? Why I did not choose start? Because obviously we are talking about a scenario in which you are waiting, picking things up, picking passengers up, or stopping, right? So start does not feel correct. You must not stop, wait, pick up, or drop off passengers. So this one was very tricky. Pick down, obviously that's incorrect. Pick up is the right option. Or drop off passenger at the airport, taxi rank. Dash approach people on the pavement or outside a late night venue. Which one is the correct option? You may be, you must not, you must be, you may not. So I want you to use a little bit of common sense in this sentence while choosing the correct option. In this scenario, again, we are talking about a particular condition imposed on PHV drivers by TfL, right? That you cannot, apparently it looks like, you cannot approach people on the pavement or outside a late night venue. That means you can never do that. So the correct option is you must not. And you can also see that this is the only option which has Y capital of the word you. Again, the rule in English language says that the first alphabet of the first word of each sentence should be capital. That's why you must not is 100% correct answer. You do not need to look up the book, try to find this one line so that you can choose the correct option. If you have prior preparations and you know all these tips and tricks, grammar rules, and also the knowledge of handbook, it becomes easier for you. Because as I already mentioned, it probably becomes very difficult to solve all the questions in under 1 hour if we have to consult the handbook for each and every correct answer. Continuing with our current example, you must not approach people on the pavement or outside a late night venue to offering them or to offer them. Of course, not a continuous tense, but a present tense, to offer them private hire services. If you do this, you may be committing an offense and could be prosecuted. So why here you must be, I have not chosen you must be, because here it is not entirely 100% sure that you will always be committing an offense. The later part of the sentence give it away that committing an offense and could be prosecuted, right? So for example, this was, if you do this, you must be committing an offense and must be prosecuted. In that case, must be was the correct option. But here we will choose you may be committing an offense and could be prosecuted. It is always an good idea or a good idea. Very simple. Good is a word beginning with alphabet G, which is a consonant, not a vowel. Therefore, we will not use an, we will use a. It is always a good idea to confirm with each separate passenger, right? So even if you have multiple passengers, we are talking about each individual passenger, that they have booked a ride share as soon as you pick them up. So it is always a good idea to confirm with each separate passenger that they have booked a ride share as soon as you pick them up. TfL has no power, had no power. These two seems very close option, but only one of them is correct. had no power means it is a past perfect tense, which means that TfL had no power in the past, but it has power now. But that is not the case in our scenario. Therefore, to choose the correct option here, TfL has no power to set or control the fares charged by PHV operators or PHV operators. Everything is same except that PHV here is capitalized and here it is in small letters, and every PHV driver knows that private hire vehicle is the full form of this acronym, and in terms of acronym we should always choose capital letters. However, it is important that all customers understand the fare they are going to be charged or the fare they are going to be charged. The word fare, A-I-R and F-A-R-E, are pronounced exactly the same but both have different meanings. Here in this context we are strictly talking about the money or the amount charged for each trip for each passenger, therefore the fare they are going to be charged. Second thing is that you can see it here, we are already talking about fares, that's why we will choose the fare they are going to be charged. Let your operator know as soon as you find anything in case the passenger has already been in contact about the item. So let your operator know as soon as, not soon as. As soon as means immediately, as soon as you knew, you find anything. This in case has different meaning. We are here talking about in case of this, in case of that event, in case this happens, in case that happens, so that sort of thing. The passenger has already been. So the passenger here has already been, not have already been. If it was passengers, plural noun, then we would choose have already been. But here we are talking about a singular noun, therefore has already been in contact about the item. Dash also checks your vehicle. You could or you should. Definitely you should. Also, you has Y capital. So very easy to choose the correct answer. You should also check your vehicle for lost property after every journey or before every journey. Of course, before is not suitable. What would you find before you have taken a passenger for? So after every journey, if you have put any of the passenger's luggage in the boot, do not forget to check that too, right? This too should be the correct answer. Of course not. And I appreciate your confidence that here we should use to. To means as well. So now if we read the complete sentence, you should also check your vehicle for the lost property after every journey. If you have put any of the passenger's luggage in the boot, do not forget to check that too, which means do not forget to check that as well, or do not forget to check that also. So this too means these two things, as well or also. Now we are subsequently moving on to the MCQs. What should you do if you develop a new medical condition that may affect your ability to drive? If you are unsure, you can consult Driver's Handbook, Section 1, London PHV Drivers Licensing. And you will find the correct answer is that you should tell TfL immediately, because all of the other options are irrelevant. You should report it to your GP? No. You should let TfL know only when your PHV renewal is due? No. You should do nothing about it? Absolutely wrong. So when you have developed a new medical condition, you should tell TfL immediately about it. What are some of the ways you can help older or disabled passengers if needed? So here you have an additional instruction, select two answers. So for example, even if a correct one, but you choose one answer, that would be wrong. You have to choose at least two correct answers from these MCQs. And in these kind of questions, the only thing you need is the knowledge of the handbook, because the options are provided and you just need to choose the correct answer. Facing them so that they can see your lips as you speak, the correct answer. Speaking loudly and clearly if they have problems hearing you, because we're talking about older or disabled passengers, so these two looks like correct option. Carrying them to the car is not your responsibility. Obviously, speaking them directly into their ears is something very bad to do, so these two are obviously wrong options here. Section 7, safer driving. You should give way to pedestrians on the side roads. True. Yes, we should do that. Section 8, being aware of equality and disability. Which medical conditions may allow a PHV driver to get an exemption from carrying assistance dogs? Select two answers. The first one is allergy to dogs, or asthma, which gets worse when near dogs. Moving on to the next options based question. Section 1, London driving license. How soon must you notify TfL about a change of address? Within 21 days. Which actions could help reduce the chances of someone being violent or aggressive towards you? Select 2 answers. Raising your voice, listening and not interrupting, whispering, or asking questions. So we know that when somebody is trying to be violent or aggressive towards us, we should give them a chance to speak what they want to say. So listening and not interrupting, and also by asking questions, we can maybe calm them down. So you can find these relevant answers in section 4, staying safe, as well, and you will find out that these are the 2 options we should select in this particular question. Section 1, London PHV driver's licensing. Who is responsible for informing TfL if you get arrested, convicted, charged, or cautioned for any crime? You, the driver, of course. Next question. What type of assistant dogs wear red jackets? Dog aid, assistant in disability, and medical detection dogs. Moving on to the next question. How soon must you inform TfL if you get arrested, convicted, or cautioned? Of course, you should inform TfL immediately if such a scenario appears. If your passenger is an unaccompanied child, make sure and select 2 answers. Always make sure that you read the questions carefully. So before, it used to be just a question and an additional instructions. Now, reiterating the fact that TfL allows you to know the section from where this question is taken from. So first of all, acknowledge the section, read the question, look out for any additional instruction so that you get exactly the number of answers they want you to choose. And in this case, that you know the name of the adult who will be meeting the child at the end of the journey. Your operator gives you the name of the adult meeting them, so that you can cross-reference that information and make sure that the child who is not accompanied by an adult during the journey is arriving at the safe point where they are supposed to go. Safer driving, section 7. Under which circumstances should you inform TfL if you get a fixed penalty notice? Never. TfL is not concerned with fixed penalty notices. That is indefinitely incorrect. If the fixed penalty notice results in a fine, if a fixed penalty notice results in penalty points. So to choose the right option, you can consult to the driver's handbook, or if you already know that you do not need to inform TfL if you get a PCN and it is just a fine, but you definitely need to tell them if the fixed penalty notice results in penalty points. What will happen if your PHV driver's license has been revoked or suspended and you do not return it to the TfL? So in that case, of course, TfL may send an authorized officer to take it off you. Section 8, being aware of equality and disability. Dogs for good assistance dogs are for, select 2 answers. Adults with physical disabilities, children with autism, adults with autism, people with physical disabilities. So dogs are good for assistant dogs are for children with autism and people with physical disabilities. So these are the 2 group of people who can have assistant dogs with them, and PHV drivers are told by that these assistant dogs should be allowed to sit in the footwell of your vehicle. Be aware of equality and disability, section 8. What color jackets do Canny Partners assistant dogs wear? Purple, I believe. An adult at risk is anyone, select 2 answers. So here, over the age of 18, of course we're talking about an adult. Let's read the options first. Who needs help? Looks promising option. Over the age of 16. Who is in need of extra care and support? Over the age of 18. The correct options here, because we have to choose 2, who is in need of extra care and support and over the age of 18. That is the definition of being an adult. Section 2, licensing requirements for PHVs. Do you need to know about private hire vehicle requirements if you do not own a PHV yourself? No, it is only the PHV owner's responsibility. Yes, but only if you're leasing and not hiring. Yes, it is a requirement for all PHV drivers. And that is exactly the correct option, even if the vehicle itself does not belong to you, but it is a requirement for all PHV drivers to know about those requirements. What is a PHV license disc? Section 2, licensing requirements for PHVs. And among these 4 options, a sticker attached to a vehicle to prove it has been licensed by TfL for private hire use is the correct option. What should you not do with the assistant dogs? Select 2 answers. Of course, you can look at them, but you're not allowed to stroke or feed them or distract them in any way. These are the 2 things we should not do as a PHV. Now, these are 2 reading and understanding questions. In these type of questions, we need to read a complete paragraph Then based on the information provided in that paragraph, we are asked a question and we need to choose the correct option. Let's read the first paragraph. There may be circumstances where TfL has important information about the vehicle you're driving. For example, the manufacturer may have told TfL about a fault with the vehicle. That means it needs to be returned to the manufacturer for repair. If you are the registered keeper of the vehicle, TfL or the manufacturer may write to you to explain what you need to do to get your vehicle fixed. So this is the information we are provided. Now this is the question. Which of the following statements is correct? And by the way, this is the section this question is taken from. Section 2, licensing requirements for PHVs. In these sort of questions, you already have all the information you need in this paragraph. All you need to do is find the correct option. Only your vehicle man will ever write to you about faults with your vehicle. Only TfL will ever write to you about the faults with your vehicle. TfL or your vehicle manufacturer can write to you about faults with your vehicle. We can see it here. If you are the registered keeper of the vehicle, TfL or the manufacturer may write. So any one of them can write to us. The third option is correct. Section 1, London PHV driver's license, where this paragraph is taken from. Again, this might be rephrased. This might have changes in wording, but the context will always remain the same. The information will always remain the same. And we need to be able to find that information, even if it is not written exactly the same in TfL driver's handbook. Let's read the paragraph. You will need to prove that you have at least a B1 level of ability in English language. B1 is a level of English in the Common Union Framework of References for English, CEFR. To prove your English language speaking and listening skills, you will need to take a test. The test is held in a TfL building and conducted under exam condition. Your English language reading and writing skills will be derived from the Safety, Equality and Regularity Understanding Assessment, which is our SERU assessment. Which of the following statement is correct? You will need to take a B1 English test to prove your reading and writing skills. The test to prove your B1 level of ability in English will be held in a TfL building. The Safety, Equality and Regularity Understanding Assessment tests your speaking and listening skills. So you can see that these three options are kind of tricky, very close to each other. But if you read the passage carefully, you will decide that this is the correct option. The test to prove your B1 level in English will be held in a TfL building. So what they have done here is that they have combined the information in this one. We know that we need to take B1 level of English language ability. We know that this test will be held in a TfL building. Therefore, this option is correct. So this is the end of the quiz. If you take the course from TfL SERU Practice, our website serupractice.com, it is a very well structured and comprehensive course. It allows you to read all the sections of the handbook in sequence, give quiz for each section so that you can memorize the information you just learned. And by the end of the book, after completing all the sections, you are provided with a number of mock tests with real example questions so that your preparations can be top. So here, let's take a review how many of our answers are correct. And we have reached 37 of 37 points, 100% correct answers. On our website, when you solve these mock exams, you can also refer to all the questions and see how many of them are correct. If any of the answer was incorrect, then which one was the correct option. And I hope it really helped. Now, let's talk about the cheat sheet, which I already mentioned. At serupractice.com, we strive to provide maximum benefit to the students and test takers. That's why we have developed these cheat sheets to help you understand and learn those grammatical rules quickly. What you get is a very easy and profound definition of proper nouns and how to capitalize and when to an English alphabet in a word. Also, this list contains all the words from PHV driver's handbook which should be capitalized. For instance, PHV authorized vehicle area. In this complete word, PHV, which is an acronym, you already know that, authorized vehicle area is a specific word of a place, right, which makes it a proper noun, and therefore the first alphabet of each proper noun should be capitalized. Same is the case with the London city, as it is name of a specific city. Same is the case with English language, European Union, and all of these other words which are from PHV driver's handbook are all in one place for the convenience of test takers. Similarly, this is a cheat sheet full of N versus A. So it defines you when do we use one of these two, N versus A. give you some examples, and then list down all the words in SERU which are used with an, so that you can be assured while choosing the correct option. This is the cheat sheet for singular versus plural nouns. So just like previously we learned what exactly the noun or proper nouns are, in addition to that, there can be singular or plural nouns depending upon the sentence. Therefore, when to use a singular noun, which words to look up for before using a singular noun, similarly which word to look for as a determiner before a plural noun, and then how exactly to add an s or not to add an s after or at the end of the noun. And this gives you a lot of examples to learn from and make sure that you understand how this rule works. Subject-verb agreement is one of the more complicated rule of English grammar which is involved in SERU assessment. But again, with the help of this cheat sheet, whenever you want, you can look up the definition, try to understand how subject-verb agreement works in English language. Why do we add an S with the verb? And when not to add S? So again, you can get all of these cheat sheets free of cost by simply sending us a message on our WhatsApp number. This will largely help you before taking the test and while preparing for the exam, so that you can have a more beneficial, more confident idea about the correct answer, what you should do, what you should not do. This will really help you with that. Thank you for watching. We regularly share videos to help you prepare for your PHV driver's license and TfL assessments, including SERU, speaking and listening, and topographical route planning. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future updates. To learn more, visit our website serupractice.com, where you will find everything you need to prepare with confidence. We have helped thousands of students to get their PHV driver's license by providing them assistance in topographical route planning assessment, TfL SERU assessment, and listening and speaking. You can see some of their certificates on our where students have achieved 100% marks and also above 90%, which is a very good percentage. So we provide one-on-one training lessons for TfL topographical assessment, SERU assessment, and listening and speaking. These one-on-one training lessons are specifically tailored, custom tailored for the students and their needs. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 50 genuine Facebook reviews with a 100% positive feedback rate from real students. Also, while on the go, don't forget to follow TfL tests on Facebook. If you have any questions, message us on WhatsApp using the number on your screen, or you can call us directly at 020-3965-7202 or visit our website at serupractice.com. We are here to help. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next video.